what's going on? It's the Petrol List.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Dalton from the Petrol List. I am coming at you from a brick on wheels, which is exactly how I like my SUVs. Anyway, it is Friday. I am heading out to get a little more work done in a non-distracted place. The video for Monday has already been uploaded. It's done, it's complete. My one promise is every Monday there will be a Petrol List video released. It'll be released into the YouTubes, and that one is already planned. No, I'm sorry. That one is already produced, executed, and it's sitting in the YouTube conveyor belt. On Monday, a magical piece of code will pull the lever and it'll be distributed into the YouTubes. All right, that said, that video was a little more on the fillet. My car just turned off. I'm not used to the auto turn off thing. You know, I've always wondered, does that kill your starter motor, or do they have like extra strong starter motors? Hopefully if the starter goes out, it goes out before my warranty period is done. This is the first car I've ever owned that I had a warranty on, because I'm just tired of fixing cars and I wanted one that I didn't have to worry about. I think I went for it. I even got the extended warranty on this guy, so I don't want to turn a single wrench on this. Matter of fact, I have to look up how warranties work. Like, what maintenance do I have to have? Who do I have to get it done by? Because I'm so used to doing my own oil changes and brake changes and all that kind of stuff. So I'll have to figure that part out. Now, all of that said, I do have a topic I wanted to discuss today, a lighthearted topic, and that is Formula One is broken.
Suspended, and Paul, there was absolutely nothing he could do. The car
DRS on Leclerc's car. I think we could be looking at DRS failure. The rear wing flap has not.
It is broken, and only I know how to fix it. So, FIA, Toto, Christian, all you guys, whoever else is in charge. I know Massey got fired too soon. If you're listening, I have the solution, and it won't cost you too much. As a matter of fact, it might even cost you less. Hear me out. The two biggest problems that we have in F1 is infighting between drivers, which has gotten really, really toxic these days because of the social medias, and cars that are built so dominant. Now, I know there's a lot of folks out there who are like, no, it's not the car, it's Verstappen who is dominant, not the car. Let me tell you something. Put Sainz in Verstappen's car, Sainz will win races. Put Norris into Verstappen's car, Verstappen will win races, as would Lewis Hamilton. Sainz proved that by winning in a Ferrari. So if he can win in a Ferrari, he can for sure win in a Red Bull. So yeah, please no heartburn on that. It's just facts. If you don't realize that, then you've probably just started watching Formula One. And congratulations, it's a great sport. But like I said, I and I alone can fix Formula One. And this is just fixing it for the fans. This is fixing it to make the racing more interesting. I'm not talking about safety. I'm not talking about anything other than what would I like to watch in order to fix these two problems. All right, so thing one, the driver infighting. Oh my gosh. The first thing they need to do is to not have the primary driver and secondary driver on the track at the same time. How do you do that? Well, here's what you do, is you have a certain percentage of laps that each driver has to do. So this does a couple of things, because we're actually going to thin out the grid here. You know, instead of having 20 cars on the track at the same time, we're going to have just the primary drivers and just the secondary drivers' cars on the track racing at any one given time. Now, what you do is you split up the lap expectations, or the laps driven by driver. So say you have a race, I'm going to use 50 laps just for ease of math, right? Say you have a race that's 50 laps. Your primary driver has to run 30 laps. Your secondary driver has to run 20 laps. And all in all, that's a 60-40 split. So your primary driver has to run 60% of any given race, and your secondary driver has to run 40% of any given race. That way you have less cars on the track at the same time, so you're going to have better opportunities for passing, especially on some of these legacy tracks like Monza and Monaco that are already so congested that when you watch Formula One, it looks like you're watching Monday morning traffic on fast forward. So you thin out the traffic, allow for some bolder passing, and then you don't have the likes of Sainz and Leclerc battling. You don't have the likes of Hamilton and George battling. As a matter of fact, it would be like, for the first time ever, Formula One drivers would actually be rooting on their teammates, and you would have less of the melodrama that goes with having teammates as frenemies. So anyway, yeah, 60-40 split. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
As my genius is, it's almost frightening.
And the teams get to decide when they do the split. It doesn't have to be first and then second. You can have various pit stops. The rain comes, and your primary driver is better at rain, so you plan to put your secondary driver in. You keep the tire changes. It's one more piece of strategy that would make the racing really awesome to watch. And yeah, that's how you do it. You can actually have teammates, and you can stop the infighting with teams and with the fans, because some Formula One fans are getting really toxic these days. And I know toxic is an overused word, but my gosh, calm down. Calm down. Okay, the second thing for Formula One, yeah, congratulations to constructors and all that kind of stuff. I think constructors was an interesting concept when it was really all about mechanics and engineers building a car that would last and exploring the upper limits of power and aerodynamics. And you had a guy just like look at his finger, put his little index finger in the air to see which way the wind was blowing, and that's how they fixed the wing. I know that's not how they did it, but it was more personal, more kind of human driven. Now the technology's there. As a matter of fact, you're working to limit the technology. It used to be Constructors Championship was all about exploring the limits. Well, right now, if we explored the limits, you'd have cars that outperform the drivers. Like, there'd be so much G-force, your neck probably wouldn't be able to handle it. You'd probably have blackouts and all that kind of stuff. So right now, the constructor thing is about doing as much as you can within the limits of regulation, and so that kind of it turns the spirit of constructor on its ear. And what you do instead is you say, okay, everybody gets an aero, like the same concept and the same aero kit. You're not putting aero on your everyday cars. It's just not, it's not going to happen. So it doesn't matter how much Mercedes spends on aero. That technology is never going to trickle down to your road cars. Engine technology, on the other hand, will. So teams focusing their efforts and their R&D on aero, which is it's a race only technology. Focus on engine. Focus on battery and combustion and running crap on e-fuels. That is what is going to trickle down to the everyday consumer. So make that the focus of the Constructors Championship. And yeah, the most you can do is adjust your front and rear wings. Maybe they let you build just the front wing to add a little spice in there, but the rest of the car, the rest of the the concept anyway, it's not like it's been interesting to see what the different shapes are. So concept, honestly, not that exciting of a constructor's thing anyway, except for the speed. And I gotta hand it to Red Bull. They nailed it. But the racing sucks. Formula One adoption has started to tank. The gains that F1 had, they're starting to go away. And that's because the racing is boring, because Verstappen is always winning. And I gotta point out one thing, yes, Mercedes had a very dominant car, but there were still races. Right now, there are literally no races. And there really hasn't been one, with the exception of, Singapore. That was a race. Everything else has been Verstappen winning by, 20 seconds. And if you have the right car, great. And you have the right driver to drive that car, great. Yeah, you deserve to win. Verstappen and Red Bull deserves every single win that they are racking up right now, because Mercedes missed the mark. Ferrari missed the mark. McLaren missed the mark. I don't know what Red Bull did to get it right, but they did it, and they deserve the wins, they deserve the glory. But in terms of racing, it's not fun to already know who the victory is going to, and that is being reflected in the ratings, because a lot of people agree. So in summary, to fix Formula One, 60-40 split, primary driver and secondary driver. And then constructor, you're really just worried about the engine, whether that is combustion hybrid or combustion turbo or whatever, the combination of all three. It'll force the racing teams to honestly just pick speed and power, over endurance and reliability. Hopefully, hopefully that was a little more lighthearted. I'm keeping that Monday video because I think it's cool stuff to talk about. But yeah, it is a little, heavier and philosophical. So that's why I'm putting this one out there, just as a counterbalance. I should sell the Monday one. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. All right. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah. What were my thoughts on the actual Singapore race in terms of Mercedes infighting? Well, I do have to side with Lewis Hamilton on this. Russell had chosen to do one stopper, which means that his tires were shot. I mean, and here's the thing. I actually think that George deciding to do a one stopper was actually a decent decision because it put him, in the same vicinity as Hamilton, and I'm not entirely sure that would have happened otherwise. So yeah, good move. But what it did mean is that when you finally got up to Hamilton, or when Hamilton got up to you, I can't remember, which happened. Either way, at the end of the day, they ended up together. But what that means is your tires are shot. His tires are fresher. Not only is he already a faster driver, more experienced driver, and he's got more points than you, George, he has better tires. So yeah, congrats for getting yourself, back up into the competition area, whatever, with him. But just eat the fact that you did it because you stayed out and your tires suck. And Hamilton is a fast driver, and you're the secondary, and you freaking DNF'd last race. So DNFing because you hit a wall, and then driving that close to your teammate when you have crap tires, it shows a bit of I don't want to say selfishness, because in that sport I imagine you have to be, but it's got to be backed up. It's got to be backed up with reason. If you can really actually win the race, yeah, be selfish, go for it. But if you're fighting for 6th place, 5th place, and your team can already get it, and you know that you can't go any faster than that or actually win any more than that, why fight? It's silly, especially if you're the number 2. So that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on what actually went down. I think LH was right. I think George Russell is hungry, which is a good thing. But the moves you make, they really need to be justified. The comments you make need to be justified. Otherwise, you don't come off very well. You don't come off very well. And I think that's what's happening.